Good evening. Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex Lord. The Atlanta Braves big weekend in Boston. They get over 500 for the first time all season. You want to talk about the good stuff or the bad stuff first? I'll start with the good stuff.
Bad first, then good.
All
Let's
right,
end on a good note.
Bad first, bad, questionable, definitely decisions from Brian Snitker. But I will like to say that this bullpen doesn't necessarily have the horses. So when guys are down, like he said, Dylan Lee, Dosbel Hernandez, the top guys are down, you don't really have a lot of options to turn to other than Rafael Montero. Maybe you could have gone to Scott Blewett. He's been pretty good in big situations for the Braves over his short stint. So if you want to have that argument, I don't really understand why guys were down. I mean, Dylan Lee pitched he pitches Sunday in a 6-run game. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, but he can't pitch in a 2-run game and a 1-run game the following evening. So I don't know why exactly guys were down, but they were down. And the Braves, this bullpen doesn't necessarily have the horses to win every single game that they have a lead in. Alex Anthopoulos didn't address it. Like, they need 2 or 3 more guys. Maybe Craig Kimbrell can be one of those guys, but they definitely have to add to this group. It's the weakest link on the team. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, and I think, Braves fans trying to point the finger at either one of them is disingenuous to the big picture that both of them are at fault. I do think that Snitker mismanaged that Saturday night game. But in Snitker's defense, you just said it. The guy doesn't have the weapons to really, manage like he probably would like to. He's only as good as the guys he can call to. That's not exactly his fault. So I think you could point the blame at both of them. But again, I think you just said it. It is the weakest facet of the team thus far. But it's the easiest facet to fix, maybe outside of getting a outfielder who can hit a couple of home runs. Reliever is one of the easiest things to find. We're just going to have to patchwork it until the trade deadline, and maybe Craig Kimbrell can be that guy. But, this rotation has all the makings of being one of the top groups in the league. So that'll go a long way in picking up the relievers, but it shouldn't overshadow what was still an excellent weekend in multiple ways. We see Drake Baldwin. The kid is, clearly not just for show. He is this good. Matt Olson, I think he was hitting like 400 through the series. Ozuna gets a few big hits. Austin Riley had a few big hits. And then obviously the starting rotation, though, there were some hiccups in some instances. I think overall, very, very good.
Yeah, I thought it was a great week, and it felt like one that should have been a sweep. You just got to clean up and do your job.
Back-to-back series where you're thinking we should have swept both of those series is a good thing
for
this Atlanta Braves
team. The only 2 losses you had 3+ run leads,
right,
and both of them, and then you blow it. And that is just a testament to the bullpen and not having the guys, because in both of those instances, they didn't have all of their horses. And this was a stretch of 17 games in 17 days. I don't know if the Braves have another one like that this year, but, you don't have a lot of them over the course of the season. So it's nice to have this off day. The Drake Baldwin stuff is just getting funny. I find myself when he comes up and he gets a hit, I laugh. I'm like, how much longer can this keep going? How long can the kid hit 500? He hits another homer, bombs one down the line, which probably would have been a foul ball in any other park, but in Fenway, it ends up being a home run. It was a very weird. It was impossible to tell whether it was a home run or not, but just a huge weekend for him again. Even when he gets out, it's like a 100-mile-per-hour line drive to the gap that a guy makes a good play on. And then it was great.
You get strike out and it's a bad call.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable the stuff that he can do in the batter box.
He's hitting 452 or 472, 452, something like that over his last 23 games. And I'm like, when is the okay, a little even bad luck? When is a stretch where he goes 0 for 10 going to happen? Because it happens to everybody, but it's hilarious to watch every single day. And it's clear that they've kind of gone away from the 70-30, 80-20 split for Sean Murphy to it's more 50-50, and maybe even Drake Baldwin starts getting more starts. He has in the last 8 days.
And even, in the game that he didn't start, Sean Murphy had a couple of hits. This is such a luxury the Braves had. 2 top 10 catchers when you look at their F-WAR. And if you really want to boil it down to in terms of Cal Raleigh's playing every single damn day pretty much. And obviously neither of them are on his level, but both of them are top 5 or right outside of the top 5 in terms of WAR per game, in terms of if they were playing a full-time gig, they would be both top 5 in F-WAR. So you could even make an argument the Braves have 2 top 5 catchers. Now we probably, need to see Drake Baldwin do it for a little bit longer. He's not going to have 173 WRC plus for the entirety of the season, or maybe he will. Who knows? We keep waiting for the kind of proverbial, oh, there's the rookie wall. And it hasn't happened in his first 29 games yet.
Well, I mean, what would Drake numbers look like if he didn't have that streak of just abysmal luck to start the season? Because nothing's changed. I mean, he started off hitting 091 over the first 6 games, like 150 over his first 7 or 8 games, but absolutely nothing changed. Like he was hitting the ball hard all over the field. I mean, he came 5 total feet away from having 3 homers over the first 3 weeks. Like if it was a little hotter, like if it was hot like it is now, or it's going to heat up in the summer months, we're talking about one of the greatest starts in MLB history to a rookie campaign. It's unbelievable.
And I don't even think we're doing it enough service about, like, up until the last like 10 days, he's been playing twice a week and, you know, getting pinch hit opportunities. Like, he's being in a disadvantaged spot, and he's still producing like this. Like, not only is he, up until recently, he is playing more regularly now, but he wasn't playing regularly and was still doing all this, which is, you know, maybe not amazing to some casual baseball fans, but like, these guys are creatures of habit, even more than pitchers. Like, that's why Sean Murphy was expected to, you know, play 70% of the games, because that's when he is playing his best. And now, again, I wrote something on the site, go check it out, SportsTalkATL.com, that, like, he's been dealt a raw deal again. He's still producing 38% above average in terms of weighted runs created, and he still is not going to be able to play a lot because Drake Baldwin's been that damn good.
Yeah, I mean, you can't keep him out of the lineup.
No.
And the dude's just a pure hitter. I mean, you talk about, but even situationally, like those times they turn to him in the 9th inning, he comes up with a clutch hit. Like, he literally sits on the bench the entire game. Brian Snicker's like, all right, bud, Drake, go save us. We're down a run. We really need you here. We know you're a rookie.
Keep the game going,
yeah, please, you know. Okay, can do it. Any situation, like, this guy has just been unbelievable. You wrote an article, Alex, about potentially trading one of these guys, why they shouldn't do it. I want to talk about that coming up after the break. When you got 2 of the best catchers in baseball, or 2 of the best players in any particular position, of course, the natural instinct, trade one of them. That is where everyone's mind goes, and I get it. I mean, in the long term, given the situation of Drake Baldwin, like, they're both under contract for 4 or 5 years, whatever it is. Baldwin might probably even longer than that. You can't have both. It doesn't make the most sense to have both of them on the roster playing 50%, or one guy only getting 30%. Like, you might as well, you know, cash in, and that cash in will be a big prize, guys. If any one of these guys get traded, you're going to get someone good. But at least for right now, while Baldwin's still young, I don't see them making a move this year. I just don't see it, because I think you need to see a little bit more from Drake Baldwin. How, hypothetically, though, I know you said they shouldn't trade him. If there was one area where I would listen to offers, it's the shortstop position. Listen, I love Nick Allen. What he's done defensively is amazing. He could honestly hit 100, and, like, he'd still have value. Like, he's so good defensively. But you do need to find a long-term answer, and Nick Allen is not that guy. If there was a team, and I'm looking at the Boston Red Sox, who we just played this past weekend, a guy like Marcelo Mayer, who's a top 15 prospect in all of baseball, that was willing to swap us and give us a long-term answer at shortstop for one of those catchers, that's the one area where I could see them being like, all right, we got to do this. It would still suck losing one of Sean Murphy or Drake Baldwin, but if you could have one of them and then fix your shortstop and get a stud at shortstop that's under team control for years, that's the one scenario where I'm like, okay, I might do that.
It's the only caveat. There is really no other caveat. And I saw people commenting, you know, Paul Skeens, and yeah, sure, I'll give you Drake Baldwin or Sean Murphy, whichever one you want for Paul Skeens. But guys, that's not going to happen. The only realistic possibility is a team who has a surplus at the position that we need, and they have a deficiency at the position we have a surplus, meaning they need catchers and they have a lot of shortstops. You mentioned the Red Sox. The only problem is the deal is just not clear and obvious yet. And I would still say it's way too early to even have these conversations, because I think you go through a myriad of other obstacles before you get to that final resolution. You don't make that knee-jerk reaction this soon into the 2024 campaign. And what I mean by that is, you said it, people are already ready to ship Sean Murphy off because of how good Drake Baldwin is. Guys, it's been 29 games. And though we are excited, and I do think this is the real Drake Baldwin, I said it, he's not going to be a star because he already is a star. I truly do believe that, but we can all admit that baseball is a hard damn game. Like, eventually he is going to struggle. And while it hasn't happened yet, it will happen because this game humbles everybody. And I think that just to laugh off the fact that you're trading a known commodity, a known top 10 catcher, sometimes top 5 catchers in some seasons, and Sean Murphy is disingenuous to how hard being a catcher is and how good Sean Murphy is behind the plate and how good the Braves pitching staff is when Sean Murphy is behind the plate. Now, that's not to say that Drake Baldwin can't and won't be as good as, Sean Murphy might be in some aspects, but I think you're undermining just how good Sean Murphy is. And then on that same breath, you've got to exhaust all options before you trade one of those guys away. And what I mean by that isn't trotting out Drake Baldwin. I almost said Drake Baldwin into left field this year because
Drake squared, baby. They're going to dominate Atlanta.
It's setting him up for failure. I mean, trotting him out in the middle of the season is not going to be the best chance of him succeeding in that role. You're going to have to attack, if you wanted to go that direction, you would have to attack it in the offseason where you're getting him a bunch of reps. You're doing the whole Vaughn Grissom and Ron Washington where it's like, hey, there is no offseason. You're coming and you're training immediately, right as the season ends. And then if that doesn't work, then you explore the DH option where you don't want to get rid of a guy like Acuña, but you also, have the opportunity to use that $16 million on the pitching staff, Acuña's salary. So there are so many different doors we are going to have to walk through before we trade either of these guys that it is hilarious that you hear some idiots on 92.9 going, we need a better closer. We should trade one of them for a closer. Hey, guys, wake up. They're worth 4 relievers, 4 high leverage relievers. That's how valuable a plus defender and plus hitter is at the catcher position.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that they're not going to trade him for a reliever. No. Like I said, it's going to be a short. If they're going to go that route, it would be they need to find a shortstop. That would be the one. That's the one area where you have kind of equal positional value. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I think shortstops are more valuable. But if you can somehow get a long-term answer with one of those all-star caliber catchers, that's the one area that I could see it. That's about it. That's about it. It's Paul Skeens. I saw that. That's funny. I don't understand what the Pirates are doing. With Paul Skeens, I can't believe that we're already getting rumors of them potentially listening to offers on a guy who has been in the majors for less than a year and is one of the most dominant pitchers in the game. And the Pirates are already like, well, we can't pay him. That's 5 years away, guys. What are we talking about? They're like, they don't even want to pay an arbitration salary. It truly is unbelievable that we're having that. And I don't even understand what a Paul Skeens package will look like. I know the Braves wouldn't be able to put together something because there's no way that the Pirates could trade Skeens for something that wasn't a multiple player package of top prospects. Sean Murphy and Drake Baldwin, guys that are in the major leagues, it would just be having another Paul Skeens. It's like we're
right in the same boat where we are going to have to pay these guys.
Yeah, so it's
Sean Murphy's already being paid.
That wouldn't make a lot of sense. I mean, if there was some sort of all-star pitcher out there with plenty, like a Garrett Crochet, I'm sure if the Red Sox when they were taking, or not the White Sox when they were taking offers on Crochet, I'm sure those conversations had, and I'm sure they started around Drake Baldwin. And I'm sure the reason that deal didn't come to fruition was because they didn't want to include Drake Baldwin.
We already know that. And I don't know if it was Dylan Cease or Garrett Crochet, but it was a star pitcher up for trade. And the conversation surrounded Drake Baldwin, and Anthopoulos was like, no. No big deal. And now you're seeing exactly.
How about Alex Anthopoulos shutting down my left field Drake Baldwin campaign and so soon?
And infatuationally, I don't know. I think I said that wrong, but he goes, nobody in the organization, coaching staff, executive, he said, nobody in the organization has even had a peep of this. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The reason why they haven't is because, one, he's still 29 games in. We don't even know if Drake Baldwin's that good. I mean, still, we all think it.
We also, a lot of fans just forget the fact that catcher is a 1-2 punch where it's hey, you also still have to call games and play defense behind the plate, and they are still teaching him the nuances of that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that Drake Baldwin's working on, but I will not let Alex Anthopoulos' word deter me from my campaign. I will not. And I said it on Twitter, and everyone's like, you're an idiot. You already said it. You know what? A lot of GMs and coaches say things that 4 or 5 months down the line start to come up in these conversations.
He said no coaching staff changes. What do you know? Sweeping changes.
So, hey, pipe down a little bit, all right? I heard what Alex Anthopoulos said, and I'm still saying that because Jurickson Profar is not eligible for the postseason, I never want to see that guy play this season, but he might end up playing. Who knows what's going to happen? But he's not eligible, so you're not going to be able to play him that much. If Eli White and Alex Verdugo go out there and turn into tomato cans. Very, very possible thing that could happen. And Drake Baldwin is hitting 1,000 OPS in August. Buddy, you hit, you can play. And if they do not have a left fielder that can hit, and they don't trade for one, and they just are like, well, this guy has 1,000 OPS, let's try it, they will do it. And I do not want to hear anything about what Alex Anthopoulos said in May. Wait till August, wait till October, wait till those things actually come to fruition, because a lot of things have to happen to get to that point, but they will do it. Evan Gattis played left field for this team. Evan Gattis. That guy was 275 pounds and just flopping around. I mean, talk about flopping around. Chipper Jones, Austin Riley, Freddie Freeman, third base. They just aren't desperate enough yet, and obviously they're still teaching Drake Baldwin. So I know everyone's like, you're an idiot. Alex Anthopoulos already said it would never happen. Yeah, it's never until you really need it. Yeah, it's never until you really need it.
Everything's crazy until it happens. I mean,
But William Contreras played left field for a game. Yes, and they shut it down after a game.
It felt like it was more than a game. Isn't that crazy?
They shut it down for a game, but these are things that they have tried. So, like, the proof is of concept is there. It's not like I'm making up something like, oh, they have never once swapped the position in the middle of the season. No team has ever done that. It's happening to 20 different teams right now. Like, the Braves, like, they'll hang on because he's a rookie, because he's having so much success, because of all the reasons you said a trade shouldn't happen. Yeah, you probably shouldn't move him to left field right now. But, circumstances changes, and as you get more desperate in the season and you really need some guy to play left field, and you got these two guys playing at all-star level, got to make room for them. You hit, you can play.
Yeah, I mean, I think to just dismiss the entire idea because Alex Anthopoulos said it in May is pretty hilarious, just how long a baseball season can really be. And if we are not in the playoff picture coming down the stretch, you think that they're going to be trotting out two guys who are well below average hitters just because they can play defensively? I think you're being ridiculous. And the fact that, like, we would do anything to make the playoffs, let alone just trotting a guy out in left field.
Yeah. I mean, things can happen. I mean, listen, I'm not sold on the Eli White Verdugo platoon. And frankly, if that's your only other option, Drake Baldwin don't look too bad, even if he flops around like a fish. I like it. I'm a big fish fan. We got more to talk about coming up after the break. The great thing about general managers or whoever the decision makers are, they're always judged by the moves that they make, right? Like, oh, that gets an F grade. Oh, looking back, that was a terrible deal. That was a terrible deal. But they never get any credit for the deals that they avoid or the trades that they don't make. Remember back to the JT Realmuto saga when the Braves were at the forefront of the conversation and they were asking for Michael Soroka, Ronald Acuña, Ozzie Albies, and the Braves were like, no. And think about how many calls they get on Drake Baldwin, Ronald Acuña, Ozzie Albies as they're coming through the system. Let me tell you, they get it from 29 other teams. Like, hey, can I get that guy on my team? And the Braves have been remarkable at picking the guys that they trade and keeping the guys that end up being studs. I mean, AJ Smith-Shawver, Spencer Schwellenbach. I mean, the list goes on and on. They're the best at developing homegrown talent, despite always having the worst farm system. Yeah. Spare me with that MLB pipeline. Yeah, I mean, spare me with that. Yeah, and the Dodgers have the best, right? Yeah.
Every year.
Give me a break. Give me a break. And you know what's crazy? And now we're going on a tangent because this is not what the segment was going to be about. But I just wrote something on the site about how the Braves can get a PPI pick, a draft pick at the end of the first round, a compensation pick if Drake Baldwin wins the NL Rookie of the Year award. Exciting stuff. Very possible. You know what they don't get? They don't get it if AJ Smith-Shawver does. You want to know why? Because AJ Smith-Shawver wasn't a consensus top 100 prospect according to ESPN, MLB Pipeline, and Baseball America. It has to be 2 out of 3. He wasn't. He should have been. He wasn't. And obviously he should have been. If he wins the Rookie of the Year, all of those guys, why does it matter what some numbnut from ESPN ranking prospects thinks about a guy?
And we're talking about a flawed system where those guys are so susceptible to being like, hey,
biased.
Like we're like, hey, we'll give you access to the biggest team in the sport, a la the Dodgers, if you give us favorable rankings. Like, it is such a flawed system where it was like these guys are so susceptible to being biased. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then a team like the Braves, who are usually so tight-lipped and so, case closed, nobody's going to get any information out of us. It's like, yeah, we're not going to give you favorable rankings. Obviously, I know we're looking tinfoil hat now, but it's happened so much over the past 10 years that all you can do is point out the obvious. I mean, the Dodgers are getting favorable treatment.
It's an absolute joke. I mean, it is an absolute and total
Nobody
joke.
has produced more talent
and
than the Atlanta
frankly,
Braves.
MLB Pipeline, every time I read like their overviews and stuff, or like the guys that make these rankings have no idea anything about the Braves prospects. Like their prospect rankings are so terrible.
It's also nearly impossible for a group of 6 people to cover this many players.
They don't. That's the thing. So it's just ridiculous that because AJ Smith-Shawver, because some idiot at MLB Pipeline doesn't think he was a top 100 prospect in baseball, talk about a miss. You can't get a PPI pick. Like it should be.
We're not talking about like we're talking about a guy who makes $100,000 a year comparatively to like in terms of value of what that pick could be, millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's not what this segment was about. But we did go on a little tangent. But it's true. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like I was reading that over. I'm like, why would AJ Smith? Why should it matter at all when MLB Pipeline or ESPN or any of those idiots?
And AJ Smith-Shawver has a better chance because Drake Baldwin is sharing time.
And what's even crazier is AJ Smith-Shawver was a top 100 prospect 2 years ago, and then like, oh, now they're like, oh, he wasn't that good. Like, nah, he's not a top 100 prospect.
And he was still kind of good in the majors.
He just wasn't. He wasn't the hot new thing. He wasn't the hot new. He didn't burst on the scene and have Spencer Schwellen. But like, it's just so stupid. Yep. But again, went on a tangent. Back to Alex Anthopoulos, not making moves, and not being judged on those moves that he does not make because you don't really think about them. But remember, 2 years ago, Aaron Nola was reportedly offered a $162 million contract from the Braves. Now, I don't know if that was Anthopoulos playing a little hardball with the division rival, driving up the price tag, saying, hey, if you want to keep Aaron Nola, you better offer him 7 years, $172 million. If that was, his chess, not checkers move, it was a hell of a good one. It was a hell of a good one because he got paid $172 million, and he does not look great. 6.16 ERA on the season, second year of that deal, a lot of time. And this just goes back to these mega contracts, man. They very, very rarely work out in the team's favor, especially with pitchers. And Nola's been a guy who stays healthy. He's just getting older, and his fastball's down to 91, and people are slugging 850 off it. I'm not writing him off, but slugging 850 off of it. I'm not writing him.
I read that article and must have glossed over.
Yeah, slugging 850 and hitting 300 off his fastball.
Not great, Bob.
Yeah, so that's not what you want to see in the second year of a $172 million contract. And the Braves offered 6 years, $162 million. So, I guess a blessing in disguise that the Phillies were not going to let him go to a division rival, because that's the kind of mistake Alex Anthopoulos hasn't made. Doesn't mean he couldn't have right there if Nola signs that contract, but that is a nice thing that it didn't happen. At least it looks that way right now.
Yeah, and obviously it's early in the season. He goes on the IL with a sprained ankle, maybe phantom injury. Who knows? Give him a break, give him a breather, go spend some time with the family. I don't know. Work on, go into the cage and look at your analytics. I don't know what it is, but I think writing him off, and I know that's not what you're doing, it would be disingenuous to his entire body of work. I mean, his first year in that deal, he was excellent last season. Started a bunch of games, 30 plus games, had a really good ERA. And this, what is he, 7 or 8 or 10 starts into the season? So, no Braves fan should go and start dancing on the grave of Aaron Nola and the Phillies, because we know that they'll give it back just as hard as us if he turns it around. You always got to see the bigger picture. Don't throw stones in a glass house, because you never know what Strider's going to come back and give us coming off of his second stint on the IL. That sure would be annoying to look at.
That's a good segue into our next topic, because we haven't brought up the Strider and the Acuña news. A lot of big news. We could be welcoming 3 familiar faces to the team this week. A good week and turned into an excellent week for the Atlanta Braves. Spencer Strider, Ronald Acuña Jr., maybe even Craig Kimbrell could all be joining this team. Now, 2 of those guys are coming from injury. Spencer Strider will make the start. He has been activated off the IL on Tuesday against the Nationals. And guys, if you haven't gotten your tickets for this weekend's upcoming series against the San Diego Padres, I'd suggest if you want to go watch some baseball over Memorial Day weekend, you go do it right now. Because I believe Ronald Acuña on Friday, May 23rd, it's been speculated, just makes too much sense for him to make his highly anticipated debut nearly exactly a year from when he, tore his ACL on Memorial Day weekend last year.
I don't know. This is crazy. Are the Braves literally waiting to bring him back to cash in on this weekend series? Because obviously the Padres are a draw. They've got the star power. It's Memorial Day weekend. That obviously is going to have an influx of tickets because people are celebrating. And then you add in the fact that Strider will start, if he starts Tuesday, it'll be Saturday or maybe your Sunday. He is going to play one of these weekends. And then also you're welcoming back Ronald Acuña Jr. That will be Strider's home debut for the first time because he started twice on the road because we're going to be in Washington. And his only start earlier in the season was on the road. Like, this is lining up to be a cash cow of a weekend for the Atlanta Braves. It could be all happenstance. I doubt that they're really prioritizing, dollars and cents, although this is a publicly traded company, so you can never completely dismiss that. It's going to be a hell of a weekend at Truist Park. It's going to be flooded with people. Yeah, you said it. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, you might want to do it before they announce the Ronald Acuña.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like that's happening.
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't played the full 9 innings in the field yet, but it feels like that's going to happen, today, tomorrow, the next day,
and
whenever it does.
Perfect timing in a different, vein is the Braves are playing better baseball. The rotation is playing a lot better. Matt Olson and Austin Riley had hell of a series in Boston. Ozuna has picked it back up. Like, Eli White has not cooled off. I mean, Nick Allen had a couple of hits over the weekend. Then you add in Strider back to the rotation, which has already been one of the best rotations over the last month or so. And then you add Ronald Acuña Jr. to a lineup that is finding its footing. I mean, this is lining up to be that June and July month where, like, Austin Riley is hitting like the best player in baseball. Matt Olson is hitting 14 home runs in a month. Like, and then we start to look up and, the division, it's 5 leads, 3-1. We're tied in the NL East by the end of July.
Yeah, I don't watch a lot of Phillies or Mets content. I don't read a lot of it. If I get in arguments with them on Twitter, they're usually arguing with themselves in my mentions because I don't read my mentions most of the time.
Just a healthier way to live.
Yeah, especially from people that I don't follow or don't follow me or whatever. Like, they don't even appear in my notifications. I don't know if they realize it yet, but it's about to get nuclear in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like, it's about to get nuclear. I'm talking like there's going to be a month over these summer months where they go 25-5.
Yeah.
Like the way that Ronald Acuña looks, and I'm telling you, he looks different. I mean, he looks like the guy. I mean, this guy, the last time he played as a DH, he hits a home run, 420 feet. And then the team, and in a AAA, which is kind of Bush League to me, walks him the next 4 times. Literally, he's like, yeah, you're not hitting. Like,
I kind of love it.
But it's like,
I think it's
you're
funny.
trying to get a rehab assignment. I know they're trying to win baseball.
They're trying to win baseball
but
games,
at the same time, it's like, bro, like, I feel like there should be an unwritten rule. Like, this, come on, he's trying to get some work in. Like, what are we doing here?
Pretty hilarious,
honestly. What are we doing here? It's like 4-pitch walking a guy in Little League. I'm like, it's like, dude, the kid's 12, man. Like, let him hit some baseballs.
These kids are competitive, trying to win baseball games.
But
you don't win baseball games, you don't keep your job.
And while I do have some concerns about what Spencer Strider is exactly going to look like after a year, I think he's going to be good. Like, I don't get me wrong. Like, I just don't know if he's going to be the best pitcher in baseball.
I think over the course of, 5 to 10 starts, he is certainly going to be better than the other option, which was Bryce Elder.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be miles better.
Yeah,
miles.
So
now,
I don't think
no disrespect to my boy Bryce, who was out there bald.
Complete disrespect. He would never compare himself to Spencer Strider.
Yeah, well, I mean that is true, but I mean, we got to give him some credit, man. The guy
was
saved. The
guy
saved.
He didn't deserve to be designated.
The guy saved the Atlanta Braves season, and if you had told me that, I would have been like, no way. What are you talking about? How the hell did that even happen? But it's like he was a huge part of like this kind of revival that we've had. And while we're sitting here 5 games back in May, which feels like absolutely nothing, and it's just a matter of time before this team, Ronald Acuña comes, and everyone's going to just feed off that. Yep. Like, it is going to be just the energy, the vibes, everything when he returns to that dugout, and then just having that kind of protection, that kind of bat, and just inserted into the middle of the lineup while everyone else kind of seems like they're starting to hit. It's scary. It's scary. And guys, they play the Nationals, and I know they didn't hit well against the Nationals last year. The Nationals pitching staff sucks. Like, they killed Boston. If they go and get hotter and then come home and Ronald Acuña's in there, and guess what? They're going to be thinking about the Padres.
A lineup
who swept us to start the season. That'll be in their heads.
A lineup that all of a sudden, instead of Verdugo or Mike or Ozzy in those leadoff spots, they are now in the bottom third. Maybe sometimes the second, third, depending on who the pitcher is. That lineup just looks all of a sudden different. And I know why everybody just goes, Ronald Acuña Jr. can't. Yes, he can, because it's not just his impact. It's the, impact he has on other guys. And whether it is Mike having protection as the 9th hitter or Ozzy's, witchcraft where he's just a happier guy with his best buddy around. I don't care what it is. Everybody's going to be looser. Everybody's going to be playing better. And all of a sudden, this was the prince that was promised.
I mean,
these Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, guys, think about what Alex Verdugo came up for like a 7-game stretch. and came up and hit like a few doubles, and like all of a sudden everyone started hitting, and like we started winning baseball games. Like Ronald Acuña is like 5 times the player that Alex Verdugo is. Everybody is going to feed off this energy. And then on top of that, you're also getting Spencer Strider. Like you're also getting another stud in the rotation. And this rotation was Strider. And
Chris Sale has reverted back to that Cy Young that we saw. AJ Smith-Shawver, Rookie of the Year conversation. Grant Holmes deserved that last win in Boston, and he has pitched well. All of a sudden, this guy is a league average pitcher. But guess what? That's your 5th guy in the rotation. And Spencer Schwellenbach, I know, didn't have his best outing against Boston. Man, this stuff is still crisp.
I loved what Spencer Schwellenbach did against Boston, because you give up a grand slam and like that, and it just kind of all unravels there in the 4th, and then you're able to go back to the dugout, take a deep breath, and still make it 7 innings. And by the time you leave, you got a 10-4. And frankly, he could have gone 8 or 9. The guy only had like 80 pitches through 7 innings.
Which is so snit.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're up 10-4. There's no reason to push it. But exactly. I mean, right, you could have given your guys that are on the pine that need extra rest more rest if they need rest so badly.
I'm drooling right now. I'm salivating at the thought. This is the Braves team that we thought, and it was just crazy that we all were like, the sky is falling, 0-7 start. And granted, I would be lying if I didn't say I was concerned a little bit.
Of course.
But I put on a brave face for you guys just to calm the nerves, and this is what it's all about.
Well, it's really about that rotation and guys like AJ Smith-Shawver in this homegrown talent that they seemingly are able to produce a new guy every single year, and it just has the entire outlook of the team. And then now you're finally getting healthy, and you've made it. You've waited the bad moments of the season. You've gotten over the hump. You've found ways to win games that you shouldn't have won, and now everything's coming together. And you look up, and you're only 5 games back. Oh yeah, I'm in. We are about to go absolutely nuclear in Atlanta, and I hope the rest of the league is ready. The NBA Conference Finals are set, and I don't think anyone could have guessed. Maybe you saw the Timberwolves and the Thunder a rematch of last year. Both of these are actually rematches of second-round series last year. 2 very, very good series, with the Timberwolves beating the Thunder and the Pacers beating the Knicks. We'll start on the Eastern Conference side of things, because I think that's the more surprising of the 2 matchups. Both of these teams, I mean, they haven't been to a NBA Finals in my lifetime, or maybe the Pacers did it really, really early on in my life, but it has been quite a while before either of these teams had a legitimate chance at making the NBA Finals. And I think the Pacers are the surprise of this entire playoff team. I don't think anybody saw this coming, and I know they're slight underdogs, and everyone's going to be talking about the Knicks. They got the star power. They got the Madison Square Garden. They've got the fan base, yada, yada, yada. Keep doubting the Pacers, man. That's a damn good basketball team. Tyrese Halliburton might not be playing on Jalen Brunson's level, but he's right there, especially from a efficiency perspective. And they got a great fan base there too in Indiana that's going to be fired up. And I think this is going to be a spectacular series that not anybody expected at the start of these playoffs.
No, I mean, God, what are the odds if you did an exact matchup, Eastern Conference Finals, Knicks, Pacers? What a lucky person you are. You may have just put that bet in by accident and probably meant to do the Celtics and Cavs like everybody thought was going to happen. And this, it might lack some of the star power from some points of view, because I think most fans probably didn't want to see this matchup. I don't really know, but I have become a fan of Jalen Brunson. I hate it for Knicks fans that they get to enjoy this moment, because they are the biggest scumbags. I mean, the entire northeastern facet of the country, their fan base is like relish the opportunity to be scumbag, like throwing trash at Tyrese Halliburton fans and getting in Brian Windhorse's face. Like, it's just weird that they like relish the opportunity to show their ass. I mean, they're just total scumbags, and it's Philly, it's New York, it's Boston.
Why?
I don't get it.
Why? Yeah, why?
They like wear it like a badge of honor.
It's like, you can't come into our city and treat it like that. It's like, we're just going to be absolute assholes to you. It's truly amazing. And it strikes me as this is the biggest moment in Knicks franchise history in a long time. I mean, probably more than a lot of these people that are celebrating.
Since the turn of the century.
Yeah, it's probably more than longer than a lot of these people's lives that are out there celebrating and being idiots. And this is the biggest moment they've ever had. And their first thought is, hey, I'm going to be a complete buffoon and mess with Brian Windhorse, or try to start a fight with a Pacers fan, or go beat somebody up. Like, aren't you supposed to be happy? Aren't you supposed to be celebrating? Like, I would be 18 beers deep with the boys shirtless running around like an idiot, like I was when the Braves won the World Series. Like, I wasn't trying to
I wasn't thinking about the Mets. I wasn't thinking about the Phillies.
I wasn't trying to get in a fist fight.
Or the Astros. I wasn't thinking about anybody. I was I could not stop slobbering all over my own team instead of boosting what Jalen Brunson has become and the biggest star in New York. And I don't know how long you go, let's go attack them. It's just a weird angle, but nonetheless, it's going to be an exciting Eastern Conference final. I just want to fast forward to the final 3 minutes of every single game because you have the two clutchest players in these playoffs in Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Halliburton, and how Pascal Siakam is up there too. He was lights out during that Cavs series in the final minutes, and I can't wait for it because though SGA and Ant have a claim to being the best players left in the playoffs, nobody is clutcher than Jalen Brunson. There is nobody more exciting to watch in the final 2 minutes of a game. And this is coming from a fan of Ice Trae Young, who is one of the clutchest players in the NBA. And I just hate that it has to happen for the New York Knicks and their fans because they don't deserve it. They are horrible people.
Alex, you don't have to worry about it because I'm telling you right now, the Indiana Pacers are winning this series.
I'll say this. Out of, all of the fan bases that could really, give these conference finals an exhilarating moment from a TV perspective, we've got some of the best ones. There is no bigger stage than MSG. The Pacers have, if not, top 5, definitely top 10 fans. And in terms of playoff atmosphere, OKC and Indiana is right there. And do not discount Minnesota because they do relish this opportunity. They just handle it like normal people.
So who you got, Knicks, Pacers?
I'm going to go with the Knicks, and it's because I think they have the best player in this series in Jalen Brunson, and I think all the games are going to be close, and in the moments, Jalen Brunson does not shy away.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable. So is Tyrese Halliburton. So is that Indiana Pacers team. I like the matchup for them. I think they're a little deeper, and I think over the course of what I expect to be a long series, that'll play a factor later in the series when those games mean everything. We'll talk about the Western Conference coming up after the break. In the Western Conference, we do have the best team in basketball this season. They won Game 7 in blowout fashion. It was not a fun game on Sunday, but I do think the Thunder were the better team and they deserve to be moving on. And then you got Ant-Man, who is the most exciting player in all of these playoffs, maybe the most exciting player in basketball right now, trying to etch his name into. He's already kind of been labeled this clutch, this playoff performer. But at a certain point, he's young. You'll win a couple of series, you get that label, but that label fades fast. It's time for him to take that next step, and this is really that next step against the Oklahoma City Thunder and getting his team to the NBA Finals.
I got a gripe. I always have one. Why the hell is there not a game tonight, Monday night? It should be the Knicks and Pacers, and then tomorrow should be the OKC Thunder. And even then, why are the Thunder and Timberwolves playing before the Knicks and Pacers? The Thunder just played on Sunday, and I'm not trying to be they need more rest, but from a basketball fan point of view, give me more of the games sooner. And we're at that point where we're going to have 3 days in between some of these games because the NBA loves to drag on these series. I mean, finals games are now – a final series is over 3 weeks, it feels like. But I digress. Nonetheless, I think that both of these conference championships are going to be absolutely electric. I cannot wait to see how Ant, performs in what is one of the toughest places to play in OKC. I mean, their fans were absolutely on one for that game 7.
And we've definitely given him his flowers talking about this playoff, but it's not just Ant. I mean, Julius Randle is out there. He's the third best player in this series. You can argue over Anthony Edwards or SGA, but when you're talking about who's the third best, who's got the best number 2, it's Julius Randle, and I don't think it's particularly close. Jalen Williams, with the way he's performed,
Williams has got a lot to prove.
He had a big
defensively too on Ant.
He had a very big series, a very big game on 7. Game 7, he was huge. And when he plays like that, this Thunder team is pretty much unbeatable. Yep. I mean, they've got depth and defense and everything.
Unbelievable game 7.
SGA had a great game 7.
Game 6 and game 5.
The entire team. Yeah. The entire team had a great game. I mean, that was
Caruso is
unbelievable.
I want Alex Caruso on the Atlanta Hawks.
Well, we got him. His name is Dyson Daniels.
That's fair.
We got Alex Caruso on Roy.
Okay.
But yeah, he is give
me another one.
He's a gamer. There's no doubt. I mean, he's a winner. He's one of those guys. It's like when I talk about Drew Holiday, and I know obviously, he's kind of fallen off maybe the proverbial cliff of his career where he's not quite the star player that he was. But those kind of players, when you have them, you notice them. You notice them on all these teams that have success in the playoffs. They all got a grinder, just an absolute baller. He's going to make winning plays. And what Caruso was doing on Jokic, fronting him in the post, getting active into passing lanes, stealing.
They were certainly letting him getting away with mugging some of those Nuggets players.
And credit to the Thunder. We wondered how they were going to, respond to Jokic in that big game 1. And for the most part, they did a damn good job. And they had a great plan. And that's coaching. And that's Caruso. And that's grit. And that's toughness. And they showed all that in a series that probably shouldn't have been that competitive. But it could be the best thing that happened to him. It really could. Because you go out there and you show it in game 7. Yeah, you show it like that's like, all right, we can do this. We can do those on any stage, any amount of pressure. And I think it could be the best thing. I really like the Thunder in this matchup. I hope not. I hope it's a great series, but I'm on the Thunder train. But I did pick the Wolves to win it also. You know where my heart lies. It's going to be with Ant Edwards and the Wolves. That wraps up our show. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll be back with you tomorrow.